To Elizabeth Manley, we all watched that last night and were tremendously thrilled. Today, of course, we've got another medal on the line, a couple of medals, as a matter of fact, here at the Olympic Saddle Dome. It's a must-win situation in the morning game for Sweden. If they lose, they are out of the medals. They'll be playing West Germany. If they win, they're in position for a silver, pending a game between Finland and the Soviet Union tonight. Finland, of course, or this afternoon, rather. Finland must lose that one. The Soviets already have the gold medal. Finland, we know, will win a medal. Will Canada? That's the question to be answered. If Sweden loses here, and Carl Friesen's going to be the man of the hour because he's in goal for West Germany, the Winnipeg-born goaltender, and he's going to be the big story if Canada is to win this game, or at least Canada is to win a medal, and Sweden, of course, would have to lose to Friesen and the West Germans. Well, play is underway, and here's Dan Kelly with Brad Park.
Okay, Ron Roosh, we need an Elizabeth Manley performance from West Germany here today. That's what we need. West Germany in white on the attack. Here is Dieter Hegen moving in, dropping it to Gerd Trunchka. Centered one, but there for Sweden was Tommy Samuelsson to break it up. And Sweden, in the dark blue uniforms with the yellow trim, come to center into the West German zone. And Niederberger is back to get it. And it's fed to Штайгер, number 24. 5 Canadians on this West German squad, including the goaltender Carl Friesen, who's from Winnipeg, so you can bet they'd be liking to beat Sweden for a couple of reasons, and one, to help Canada. There's Friesen with a stop and a shot from the point by Lars Carlson. Back is Peter Anderson to Carlson. Back in front of the net for number 12, Mikael Anderson. Now to Peter Anderson, number 19. Into center ice to Lars-Gunnar Pettersson, but Bo Mecklin went in ahead of the play and was offside. Meanwhile, Carl Friesen made the stop anyway, but the play was offside. Brad Park, we need a little help from West Germany here today. They have to beat Sweden if Canada wants to win a bronze medal, and you know they want to win that badly.
Well, they do, and the West Germans have probably pulled the biggest upset here in the first game of the tournament when they beat Czechoslovakia. Now, what we need is the same type of effort, the same kind of luck by the West Germans against the Swedes. We do know the Swedes are a better hockey club.
Here's a chance for West Germany. Big, big save by the Swedish goaltender there, Peter Lindmark. And then it's cleared down the ice with Price back to get it. Well, that's the best scoring chance for either team in this game today. And a big, big save by Lindmark for Sweden.
Watch here is Franz, number 28. York Franz moves in on Lindmark, and Lindmark just stones him. If he hadn't got that puck up probably about 18 inches higher, West Germany would have a big lead early in the game. But the Swedes, as we said before, is going to be a very, very hard team for this club to beat. They have a lot more talent offensively, and the West Germans are coming off a couple of big defeats.
They have been badly beaten in their last couple of games, 8-0 to Finland and 8-1 to Canada. Now a jam up on the boards, and we're going to get a penalty. The referee, by the way, is Dennis LaRue of the United States. The linesman, I.Prusov of the Soviet Union, and Korensnig of Austria. And double penalties on the play. O'Brasov for West Germany goes to the penalty box. And each team will be a man short. O'Brasov for West Germany, and I believe Rundqvist. No, it's Kielstrom for West Germany.
A little infighting along the boards there, Dan. One of the things that the West Germans are capable of doing is playing a very physical game and throwing another team off of their game, and they've done that against the Czechs. But against the Swedes, I think the Swedes, with the NHL experience that they have on the club, are probably a little bit mentally tougher than the Czechs.
So the penalties, O'Brasov of West Germany and Kielstrom of Sweden. Minor penalties for roughing, 1:53 the time. Each team a man short. Here's Manfred Wolf getting it into Sweden's zone. Samuelsson crashed into the boards, and Anders Eldebrink has it for Sweden. Each team a man short. It's left for Samuelsson. Samuelsson feeding it ahead on left wing for Lars Molin. He moves into the corner for Ulf Sandström. He couldn't get it, and Manfred Wolf, one of 5 Canadians on this West German squad, drops it back to Peter Medikas, number 6. Now over to Schuster, number 5. Schuster Feeding it into center ice for Rutger, another of the Canadian contingent. He lost it, and back comes Sweden. Sandstrom just fires it in. And Friesen leaves it behind the net. Medikas knocks it off to Niederberger, number 19. Now on right wing for their top scorer, Gerd Trunchka. Breakaway for Штайгер, and Lindmark stayed with him, and the shot went off his pad wide of the net.
Just a little bit too far for him. He had to chase the puck towards the net and got in too close.
Here's a chance for Sweden, but broken up by Штайгер. Now poked ahead by Udo Kissling. Their top defenseman leaves it there for Trunchka. Trunchka to Штайgер. Штайgер turns, shoots, stick save Lindmark, and he cleared it into the corner. Niederberger in forechecking, but back of the Sweden goal goes Peter Anderson, now carrying out. Anderson, number 19. Checked in the play by Niederberger. And now a little behind the back pass from Trunchka to Kissling. Udo Kissling's long shot handled by Lindmark. And back is Эльдебринk. In the corner, stolen by Sweden. Штайгер a shot at Lindmark. That stick save there, and that's two good chances on this shift by Штайгер.
Swedes look a little flat. They look like Canada did the other day before they got their act together.
Long pass at center ice. Harold Price intercepting. Feeding it ahead. Trying to move in. They knock it behind Sweden goal, but then Eklund shot it into center ice. Kretschmer, number 15. Over to Obresa. The teams are back at full strength now, by the way. Here comes Eklund for Sweden. Moves in, and it's cleared out by Kreis. Well, so far in the game, West Germany's had three good chances. Sweden only one. Here comes Anderson for Sweden into the zone. And he's checked from behind as George Franz goes back to get it. Cleared it, held in, but now Kreis carries out for West Germany. Kreis feeding it through. Too far for Franz. He had one of the early chances. Now centered to Brittig. Never got the shot off as he was checked by this man Eklund, number 4. Tom Eklund. Couldn't shoot it in. Here's Gerd Trunchka. One of two brothers on the West German squad. Shot it to the Swedish blue line. Back for Sweden comes Johansson, number 25. Couldn't get it centered. Now back of the net, Uling. Now the veteran Bo Berglund works into the corner. Gets it to Uling at the point. He's checked, and it's fired into center ice by Kreis. Well, Canada needs an assist from West Germany. So far, West Germany's outplayed Sweden.
I'll tell you, they're giving it the effort. They're not as talented. That's very clear. They're not as fast as the Swedes, but they're working, and they're working the way they did against Czechoslovakia to open this tournament. That was the upset that put Czechoslovakia in the hole of one they couldn't take themselves out of.
West Germany has never beaten Sweden in Olympic play. At Izvestia, it was a close game. Sweden won 3-2. This one is scoreless as now Manfred Wolf, number 11 for West Germany. Fires it in. Niederberger, number 19, chasing in after it. Into the corner for Gerd Trunchka. Out in front. Gerd Trunchka checked by Berglund. Now here's center it back. Now they do drop it back. Carlson at the point, shot, and Friesen goes to his knees to make the save for West Germany and for Canada.
Yeah, go Canada, go. Here it is, the screenshot. Good save by Friesen. He's right there. He's a key. When he is hot, he's the best. He's as good a goaltender in this tournament. I can't say the best when you think of Moog and Burke, but he had a very hot game against Czechoslovakia. He's had a bad game in this tournament as well. But as I say, when he's on his game, when he's up, he's difficult to beat.
Face-off deep in West Germany's zone, off to the left of Friesen, and it's controlled from the face-off by number 19, Niederberger. He leaves it there. Now starts to carry out this Niederberger. Up the middle, Штайгер tried to poke it ahead, but Sweden knocked that down, and back they come, led by Rundqvist. And across the line now on the left wing side for Bergqvist. He's checked by Kissling. Bergqvist getting it back to the net. Here's Sjödergren centering it. Knocked down in front by Rundqvist. Now a shot by Bергkvist and a big pad save by Friesen. 29-year-old native of Winnipeg. Sweden hold it in. Sёderdgren and another kick save with that left leg by Friesen.
I'll tell you something, he looks hot to me.
There's Eriksson at the point firing it in. And now Gerd Trunchka breaks out for West Germany to Niederberger. Niederberger over to Trunchka. Shot back into center ice by Eriksson. And now West Germany dropped back. Dieter Hegen back for Niederberger over onto the other wing. Now back to Niederberger again. Into number 24, Штайгер. Штайgер feeds Gerd Trunchka. Shot it into the zone, but back defensively was Samuelsson. Feeds on right wing to Lars-Gунnar. Pettersson shoots. Bad save by that goaltender Friesen again. And West Germany, Obresa, leaving it for Gerd Trunchka. Trunchka with 3 goals and 6 assists. He's West Germany's top scorer. But right now, Эльдебринk feeding it down left wing for Pettersson. Pettersson tried to center, did, but knocked away by Kretschmer. Now into the other corner, Franz, number 28. Hits a perfect pass ahead to Schiller. Peter Schiller, number 26. Couldn't get it into the zone, and the veteran Bo Berglund back for Sweden. Checked on the play by Kretschmer, number 15. Over on left wing for Franz, number 28. No score. We're past the 9-minute mark of this game. Shot down the ice by West Germany. Back is Carlson. He clears it into center ice, and here comes Oling, number 11. Trying to go through the defense. Checked on the play by Niederberger. And Niederberger, number 19, wastes no time in firing it out to center ice.
Well, you know, the Canadians on this German team know a whole country's watching them today. They have the attention and the hopes that their country will, of course, beat them.
That shot was by Peter Anderson.
Hard.
Sweden from the face-off with a lead pass from Johansson into center ice for Oling. Oling into the corner. Kisslink took him out of the play. And now Brittig back of the net on left wing for Draisaitl. Into center ice, Draisaitl trying to feed it through, but there was Johansson to break it up, and back he comes. Johansson upended by Kisslink with a hip check. And Niederberger tries to carry out for West Germany to Gerd Trunchka. He gets up into the center ice. And now Niederberger drops it back for Kisslink. Number 4, he's playing in his 4th Olympics, this Udo Kisslink. Back to Niederberger, now Kisslink again. On right wing for Manfred Wolf. Actually, it is Gerd Trunchka who gets the pass. Shoots it in. Unable to get it was Rudger. Now it's shot back of the net, and Kielström for Sweden starts to carry out. Gets knocked down, but shot at the center. And Medikas is back to get it. He gives it to Schuster. The Wolf at center, broken up by Kielström and carried in. But Medikas is back for West Germany. Trying to get it out. Held in by Samuelsson. In for Sandström, I should say. Back of the net now to Yam, number 14. He's checked, and Schuster for West Germany tried to clear it. Held in, now knocked down by Schuster again. And the big defenseman carries it to center, but was checked by Lars Molin. Back on left wing comes Eldebrink. He's checked, and then it's shot to center ice. Taken there by Samuelsson, carried in for Sweden to Sandström. He's checked. Now a Eldebrink shot. Save made by Friesen. Rebound to Molin. To Eldebrink. Off the blocker of Friesen and into the corner. Medikas trying to clear it up. And that's Molin holding it in. Schuster back to get it. Manfred Schuster for West Germany. 5 minutes left in the first period. West Germany leads 1-0. Pass to Dieter Medikas. He dropped it back, and Dieter Hegen, who has the goal for West Germany, stick handles beautifully to center ice. To Gerd Trunchka. Trunchka over to Hegen. Shoots, shot it wide on the short side. I'm not sure if Lindmark got a piece of it or not.
Seemed to pull away from the post. I think he thought he was going across with a pass.
He went on the short side, and he hit just left of the post. Very, very close to getting a goal.
Here's Bergqvist for Sweden. He shoots wide, as he also tried for the short side. Now Steiger able to clear it into center ice. Sweden with Karlsson trying to carry in. He gets checked. Niederberger couldn't get it out of the zone. Bергkvist into Sjödegren, but back there is Kisslin, number 4. The veteran of this West German squad, and he shot up the center ice. Back comes Rundqvist. Pass to Sjödegren, missed him. Karlsson closing in. Shoots, pad save, Friesen. And Kisslin cleared it away, but we're going to get a penalty on the play, a holding call, as Sjödegren got yanked out of the slot area. West Germany leads 1-0. Back on the point to Эльдебринк. Left wing pass to Mikael Andersson, back to Эльдебринk. Shooting, Friesen a save. Went to his knees, just held onto it.
Well, I can't remember a game with a period going as rapidly as this one. We're going to get a first period here, barring a bunch of whistles in the final moments here. That's going to be played in less than half an hour.
We're getting all the bounces here as that shot was deflected off the man in front, went off his skate and deflected up and under the arm of Carl Friesen. So the breaks that the West Germans are getting right now, even on this killing this penalty, is substantial.
Sweden through this tournament, 3 for 16 on the power play. And they're on a power play right now, 1:33 left in Gerd Trunchka's penalty. Sweden with Eldebrink centered, Pettersson shot. Blocked by the man in front of the net, Kretschmer with a big block. And then West Germany cleared out of there.
He's on the limp. He took that one in a place where it hurt. Still out there, he's shaking off his left leg, as if that's bothering him a bit. But he stayed on the ice.
Here comes Eldebrink for Sweden. Trying to wind it around to the other side. Now back on the point to Karlsson. Back to Karlsson again to Eldebrink. Shooting, and a stick save by Friesen there. Penalty coming up to Sweden as Kretschmer got upended on the play. And the penalty coming up, and each team will be a man short. So far, so good. West Germany leads 1-0. Sweden try and dump it in. Johansson cleared it in, but back there is Kisslin. And now trying to carry out is number 23, Hegen, who's had the goal. Dieter Hegen for West Germany. Back to the point. Niederberger shooting. Lindmark. Big save on the short side. And then Hegen missed trying to center it after the original save on the short side by the goaltender, Lindmark. Each team a man short. Here comes Kielstrom moving it in for Sweden to Bo Berglund. Berglund gets checked. And Штайгер has it for West Germany. Штайgер over to Niederberger. Drops it to Штайger. Now Trunchka's back on, so West Germany on a power play with 57 seconds left in the Swedish penalty to Eklund. Here comes Gerd Trunchka, their top offensive threat through this tournament. Got it into the zone, but it's cleared out, and Kisslin drops it back to Kreis at the West German blue line. Harold Kreis over to Kisslin. Back to Kreis. Headmanning it down right wing to Rutger. Into the zone, but there's Molin to slap it back out. Sweden a man short, so they can ice the puck. 23 seconds left in their penalty to Eklund. West Germany with Ron Fischer, number 7. Big lanky center iceman. Shoots it in. In comes Wolf to try and get it. Controlled by Samuelsson. We're in the final minute of the first period. Still 1-0 West Germany. I guess, Ron, when I said so far so good, I'm speaking for Canada. I guess some Swedish people in the Canadian television audience wouldn't think so.
No, and it's not going well for Sweden right now. They're facing a goaltender who's hot, a team that is playing way above itself. And may I say that, you play for yourself first. And Germany's got its own sense of pride in its team and the league it comes from and so on. And while we mentioned that they're getting a nationwide, those 5-6 Canadians that are on the team, a nationwide audience in Canada, they're in prime time back in Germany right now. The time is 20 minutes before 7 o'clock in the evening over there. And so they've got something going for it over there, too. They just love to beat Sweden right in front of a primetime audience on their own television network.
Here's Harold Kreis trying to shoot it off the boards. Got it ahead to Number 22, Rutger, another of the Canadian players on the West German team, but it's offside, a two-line variety. There's Rutger.
Roy Rutger, who is from Western Ontario, moved to Germany back in 1977. His folks were born in Germany. He played hockey out here on the prairies, the Prince Albert Raiders. Works for the Deutsches Bank over there now, and he is apparently going to stay over there after his career is done.
Team's back at full strength now. Lars Carlson into Sёdергren. Moves in and Friesen a save, and then Sёdергren ran right into the net and knocked it loose. Friesen with an excellent stick save on that rush by number 22, Sёdергren.
Well, Brad, what we're noticing here is extra effort. There just seems to be an awful lot of it for a team that isn't in the medal running.
Well, I think, watching the West Germans this period, they seem to have more jump and more energy than the Swedes. I don't understand that they both had a couple of days off, but they have more jump. And the Czechs, or the Swedes rather, played Friday. The West Germans played yesterday. The Swedes should be a little bit more rested. I don't understand this.
Long shot by Carlson, handled by Friesen. Held in by Rundqvist into Bergqvist, who goes into the corner, given a rough ride by Niederberger, number 19. And it's held there, and we'll get a face-off with 11 seconds left in the period, the only scoring play. West Germany's Dieter Hegen, Штайгер, and Gerd Trunchka at 11:45 here in the first period.
Well, this is kind of like wondering whether the roof's going to fall in eventually. The Swedes are coming on a little bit here as the period has been winding down, but again, they're dealing with a problem, and that may be Friesen. Beyond everything else, a hot goaltender can destroy you. And Friesen has been untouchable. Shots on goal are 13-7 right now in favor of Sweden.
I mentioned West Germany has never defeated Sweden in Olympic hockey. The record is Sweden's 7 victories, no losses, and 2 ties. But they did tie in the '84 Olympics, 1-1. Here's a long shot. Save made by Friesen. And that ends the first period. Karl Friesen making that last save, and Sweden skate off, trailing West Germany 1-0 here after one period. As Ron mentioned, the shots on goal favored Sweden. The margin at the end of the period, 13-7 for Sweden.
You're cheering for the West Germans, and if you're on that side of the fence, you have to be aware that any team that is heavily favored in this tournament, who has not done well in the first period, has been so dominant in the second period and blown games wide open. So I would look for the Swedes to be very, very strong in this period and really go after the West Germans.
Here's Peter Anderson, number 19 for Sweden. Trying to feed it to Mikael Anderson. He dropped it back, but Harold Price is there for Germany. Couldn't clear it out. Now Molin, but it's shot into center ice by Schiller. And now fired back in by Carlson for Sweden. Kretschmer back to get it. Back to the goal. Kretschmer trying to move it out of there. Here's Carlson. At the point to Peter Anderson. Shoots, pad save, Friesen. Kicked out that left leg. Here comes Carlson again for Sweden. Sweden trailing, but putting on some pressure here. Back to the point. Anderson shot blocked. And back is Price to come up with the rebound after it was blocked at the defense. Price into the zone. Trying to drop it back for Schiller. But Sweden work it out, and here's Johansson on a break. Johansson, backhander, Friesen the save, rebound. Cleared away by that man Price, and then he shot it to center ice. Carlson into Woom, pulling in, Friesen another save on a similar type play. And Friesen right now holding West Germany in the lead, and West Germany will be called for icing on that play.
Well, there's Friesen again. Kid from Winnipeg, resident of Germany now, who, of course, tried out with the New Jersey Devils. Take a look at this. Price was very, very big on a couple of plays. He made the forward hurry a play twice, coming back once and then reaching across the second time.
Here is Kielstrom for the faceoff. Shot right on, and there's Mr. Karl Friesen again. Ron mentioned he tried out with New Jersey. As a matter of fact, he played in 4 games with New Jersey back in the 86-87 season, had an out in his contract, and returned to West Germany.
Well, his goals against average with New Jersey, and this may not be a knock on the goaltender, was 7.4. He had a couple of rough outings, but New Jersey, not a good team defensively, and goaltenders pay the price for that.
Yeah, they didn't exactly have Brad Park and Bobby Orr in defense, that club, you know. Here's a clearing play by Gerd Trunchka into center ice. Shot back in by Sweden. Raising out of the net to work it up on left wing for Gerd Trunchka. Knocked down in center ice by Eriksson. Now Kisslin to Brittig, number 10, back to Kisslin. Kielstrom held it in. Leaving it for Rundqvist. And carrying out is Thomas Rundqvist, number 9. Sweden on the attack. Rundqvist over onto right wing. Shot let go by Eriksson, but off a stick. Now centered by Sjödergren, but intercepted by Fischer, who feeds it into center ice to Rudger. And it's dumped into Sweden's zone. Eldebrink back for Sweden. Ahead in center ice. On the attack is Bergqvist. Centered by Rundqvist. Never got to Bergqvist. And back comes Trunchka, now circled. Number 17, Gerd Trunchka. Nice pass to Kisslin. He poked it into Sweden's zone. Digging in after it is Steiger. They score! West Germany has a 2-0 lead.
Dieter Hegen again.
Steiger to Hegen. And West Germany takes a 2-0 lead.
Watch this play as it goes up the ice. This is Kisslin knocking it ahead. Now watch Steiger jump on this puck in front. Hegen goes to the net. This is a guy that has come to life in a few games, and he's been a sleeper in others. But Hegen goes to the net. Watch him redirect this between the legs of Peter Lindmark.
Well, Hagen's got a hat trick in a way. He scored the last 3 goals that the Germans have scored. A goal late or early in the second period against Canada, and then he has turned around now and scored the first 2 goals of this game. And again, we look back at Carl Friesen. He's made the big saves, and suddenly his team is in front 2-0.
Here's Hegen clearing it into center ice. Yom knocked it down, but now stolen by Steiger and cleared in. Lindmark knocked it away. Here's Trunchka in the corner. Back of the net to Steiger. Now to Hegen, centered. And Peter Anderson there to clear it away. Here's Yom, number 14 for Sweden. Into number 12, Mikael Anderson. Centered, came in front. Now, number 14 is Yom. He's bumped by Kissling on the play. And back goes Steiger, shooting at the center ice. Carlson feeds it up for Yom. In across the line to Sandstrom. Dumped in and then shot right back out by Steiger. Here's Kielstrom to Eriksson, man wide open. Bo Berglund right in, frees it. Bad save on the short side. Centered, comes to the point to Kielstrom. His shot blocked by Kissling, and Niederberger fires it out of there.
Well, it sounds like a broken record, but it's Friesen this, Friesen that.
That scoring play, Hegen from Kissling and Steiger at 3:40. Hagen's 4th goal of the Olympics to make it 2-0. His 2nd goal of this game. Now Kielstrom from the slot with a shot that went wide. Obresa for Germany trying to get it out of there. And he does. Going back is Eriksson. And that's going to be icing against West Germany. Number 9, Obresa trying to center, got it in front, and fanning on it was Franz. He was wide open in the slot. Back comes Sjödergren, number 22 for Sweden, to Rundqvist. Number 9, Rundqvist back on the point. Shot let go by Samuelsson. Now cleared as the West German player Schiller didn't see it for a moment.
Okay. Caught right up in his equipment.
Here's the lead pass to Yom. Wrist shot off the post. Yom hit the post. Sjödergren a drive wide of the target. Sweden trailing 2-0. Trying to put some pressure on here. And they do hold it in. Here's Yom. In front. Comes back on the point to Carlson. To Eldebrink. Shooting. Side of the net. Sjödergren. Poked in front. They score. Sёderdgren on a shot, I believe, that deflected off the West German defenseman. And Sweden finally able to beat the goaltender, Carl Friesen.
Well, he even had to work on that one. Sёderdgren all alone at the side of the net. Look at the time he's got here. Now he's thinking about making a play and went off a stick, diving back to try and make a defensive play was Draisaitl, and it came right back. That's about the only way, apparently, they're going to be able to beat Friesen here, this way he's been playing.
Well, you're definitely not going to beat him on a clean shot. He's, when we looked at the last time that the West Germans played the U.S. and they beat the U.S., Friesen was our star, and because he was so cool and calm in the net. And in that last action we had, all the West Germans were running around, 2 guys out to the point, 2 guys to the corner. The only guy that was calm was Friesen, and he got beat by a deflected pass.
Now a pass intercepted at center by West Germany. Schuster cleared it in. A chance on the play for Wolf, but he was checked. Now again, West Germany with Rudger trying to carry through. Lost it, and back on the left wing side comes Mikael Andersson, leaving it for Yom. He drops it to the point, shot blocked by Ron Fischer. Fischer, head manning to Rudger. Rudger and Fischer, 2 of the Canadians on the West German squad. Rudger stick handling, lost it, and back comes Andersson. Mikael Andersson shoots, pad save Friesen, kicked out that left leg again. And then it's shot into center ice by West Germany. Here's Eriksson trying to carry in. He gets checked, Fischer pokes it back into the corner to Medikas. Oling in there to Porchek, and now shot over onto the other side. And Gerd Trunchka tried to get it out, but couldn't. Here's Medikas. He does clear it out of there. And going back is Kielstrom. Here's Hegen. Gets some help on the forechecking job by Штайгер. Here's Hegen back to the net. Hegen for West Germany. Carries in front, tipped away by the goaltender, Stick Lindmark. And back comes Oling into Bo Berglund, but Kissling was back defensively. Trying to clear it out. Here's Johansson. Shot it across, and away comes Штайгер, number 24. He's poke checked by Samuelsson on the play. Now a breakaway pass for Molin. Shot it high and wide. He was in alone and shot it high and wide. Actually, it was Bo Berglund who had the break. Now Rundqvist trying to center. Shot it back to the net. Kissling there to get it. Cleared away by Trunchka. Now Niederberg fire it out. Rundqvist trying to flip it in. Eldebrink in to get it. And then it's dropped back. That was Eldebrink trying to drop it back. Comes back into Sweden's zone. Here's Samuelsson. Breakaway pass for Eldebrink. Eldebrink's a defenseman. The last 2 offensive rushes, he's been up like he was a left winger or a right winger in deep in the West German zone.
He's had a terrific tournament. Here's a breakaway by Berglund going in and not given any room. Right there was Friesen. Tried to pick that top corner and shot it over top of the net. Oh, Berglund, another one of the 2 Swedes that have really caught my eye. Berglund and Eldebrink are the 2.
One of the problems, if you're facing a hot goaltender and you get a breakaway, you don't think you're trying to make the perfect shot. I think that was exactly going through Bo Berglund's mind.
Yeah, you know, you really get into a psychological stage here, and when the goal was scored against them, what you want to do is try and catch Germany back on its heels, feeling sorry for itself a little bit. They couldn't do that, and now, of course, they try to regroup.
Here's Peter Andersson at the point. Blocker save by Friesen. Now Mikael Andersson. The Molin centered, standing on it in front of the net was Yom, and back comes West Germany. Lead pass to Franz, number 28. Back on the point to Schuster. His shot wide of the net. And Peter Andersson cleared it. Now Yom racing after a loose puck, but Price for West Germany. Shot at the center. Molin dropping it back for Kielstrom. Shot up the ice. Now dumped in by Sweden. But there defensively is Kretschmer, number 15. Shot at the center. Back comes Eriksson for Sweden. He gets rocked on a body check. Now, chance. Shot right on by Oling. Friesen stops that. Here's Sandstrom in the corner. Back on the point to Kielstrom. Side of the net to Sёderdgren. Now to Oling. Sёderdgren again. Price is there to break that up. And West Germany able to clear it out of there. Kielstrom. Cross on right wing for Eriksson. Dumped in and chasing back is Harold Price. Cleared one. Oling knocks it down. Olling trying to center, but Price is there to flip it out. West Germany can't get it out of the zone. Number 25, Johansson for Sweden. Into the corner. The Sjödergren shot, another shot. Friesen stopped the first, the second shot wide. Eriksson at the point. Friesen a pad save on that. And then under pressure, Schiller clears West Germany 11-2. Here's Bергkvist, shoots one. Blocker save made by Friesen, who made it look easy. Fischer clears it out of there. And Rundqvist goes back, and that's going to be another icing call against West Germany.
Shots on goal are 11-2, and one of those two shots went in, and that's why Germany has the one-goal lead. There's Thomas Rundqvist, former member of the Montreal Canadiens organization, played a little bit in the NHL, but mostly in Sherbrooke, where they came to a mutual agreement that Thomas should go back to Sweden. He just had his problems in the NHL, mostly the inability to get himself in the open in the small ice surfaces.
A lot of play in West Germany's end of the rink in this period, and this period quickly flying by the way. We're down to 8:24 left in the period. Here's Rundqvist shooting it back of the net into the corner for Eklund for Sweden. Now Bergqvist trying to center. And Schuster comes up with it. He's trying to freeze it on the boards. Here's Bergqvist getting free. To Eklund, put it through the crease. Rundqvist, shot. That hit somebody, bounced wide. Rundqvist thought he had scored. He'd raised his arms. I guess Friesen got it right at the goal line, but Rundqvist thought he'd score. Here's Eldebrink for Sweden. Up the middle, misses Anderson, and back is Schuster. Over for Kissling. Back to Schuster. Held in by Yam. His shot handled by Friesen, and now Kissling couldn't get it out of there. Here's Yam at the side of the net. Back of the net, trying to work it in front of Anderson. Does. Jammed at by Sjödergren. Friesen stops that. Yam out in front. It's turned around. Back, shot wide by Anderson, and it goes down the ice.
Dan, I think the West Germans better start playing in the other end, because if they stay there any longer, there's going to be too much snow to get the puck out.
I was thinking the same thing. Maybe that's why that shot didn't get behind Friesen. It may have stopped in the snow.
I still can't figure out how it stayed out of the net. It must have hit something and squeezed out the other side. I know Friesen didn't touch it.
The other problem is Kissling, the last play, the problem is that the West Germans are playing in their own end, so what happens? Kissling takes it behind his net from the blue line.
Here's Sjödergren trying to attack for Sweden. Flips it in on right wing. Centered, wide open was Uling in front of the net, but he never got the pass, and now the puck knocked up over the glass and into the crowd. There's Rundqvist, he thought he had scored.
All right, let's see what happened here now. The puck will come out in front. Now here, he's completely tied up.
It went out the other side, right in behind Friesen. It kind of trickled through his legs instead of going left and going into the post. It went right of the post.
Well, you're hot, you're hot.
The old saying, I'd rather be lucky than good.
Well, he's had a post. Yalm hit the post earlier in this period. He's had that little affair.
Dieter Hegen has scored 2 goals for West Germany. Sjödergren has scored for Sweden, but West Germany leading it 2-1. Here's Kielström into Uling. Shoots, that's deflected and hit the goaltender Friesen right in the chest.
Kretschmer's stick came right in on him. How long is this going to go on? You can't, I mean, Sweden's got to be beside itself right now. They've done everything here. But look at this now, off the stick and deflected in. Kretschmer number 15 right in front of the net and is steered right into the chest protector of Friesen.
Now Sjödergren trying to center. Comes to the right point to Eriksson, but knocked out of there by West Germany. Comes to the West German line. Kretschmer, number 15, has it there. Fired it back, and Eriksson takes over. Dropping it to Kielström, number 5. That's Kielström. Dropped it to Eriksson. Now ahead to Oling, number 11. He's into the zone, and it's shot back out of there by Kretschmer. West Germany holding a 2-1 lead, but they've been badly outplayed in this period. Here's Oling. Over to Hokon Sёderdgren, number 22. Squeezed out of the play. And West Germany trying to clear it. It hit the referee as Schiller tried to shoot it out. But now it is shot down the ice by Kreis here. Bromps in to get it. Lindmark gets caught out of there, but West Germany couldn't get control of the puck. Brittig centered one. And over on the far side is Eriksson. The Sёderdgren at center, dropping it to Rundqvist. He dropped it back to Eriksson. Fischer knocked him down, and Thomas Eriksson fired it up the middle, intercepted by Rudger. Here's number 12 Rudger, or 22 Rudger trying to cut in. Taken out by Kielstrom on the play. Now Fischer drops it back. Backhand shot, a weak one from the point by Medikas. And here's Bergqvist for Sweden, trying to get it to Eklund. He's skated off by Schuster. And back and clearing it is Medikas. Bergqvist shot wide of the net. Fischer can't get it out, now does kick it out into center ice. Shot back in by Sweden. And going back is Schuster. And then it's called on a delayed offside at West Germany's blue line. West Germany still leading this game 2-1.
0-60 in the new.
Still trailing 2-1, and now Trunchka pulls down Molin. And Sweden may get the chance they've been waiting for here. They're going to have a power play. They've already outshot West Germany in this period. 14-3, and now Gerd Trunchka to the penalty box. And a power play coming up.
Well, considering the amount of time that the Swedes have spent in the German zone, I'm surprised this is the first penalty. You know, when you're hanging on the way Germany has been throughout this period, you tend to want to grab and clutch and do anything you can to get control of the puck. Here's just the first penalty call.
I think that what you're going to have to see here, the West Germans have been running around when they've had 5 men on the ice. This might be the most organized they are with only 4 on the ice.
Yeah, they won't be able to get face-offs in their own zone when they ice the puck. This may be a help. That's all they've really done in this period. Here's the chance for Eriksson. Now to Eldebrink at the point. Eldebrink fakes the shot. Works it in deeper, back to Eldebrink again, shooting. Get holding in the seat of the pants. And then it's cleared away. Everything's going right for West Germany.
Well, now the Swedes are starting to get a little antsy about it, and they're hesitating making their plays.
Here is a chance for Johansson. Gives it to Bo Berglund. Berglund now tied up on the play. Eriksson comes up to help out. Gets it into the corner. In there is Eklund. Now to Bo Berglund. Sweden on a power play. Eriksson shoots. That's blocked in front of the net. Eldebrink into the corner to Johansson. Back of the net. Berglund shoots. Save made on the short side by Friesen. Eriksson to Eldebrink. And Friesen got a piece of that with his goal stick. And then Штайгер clears it away. A minute left in the penalty.
We're seeing a great goaltending performance here. I don't know what the result of this is going to be, but it's really something.
Here's Mikael Andersson for Sweden. Another penalty coming up against Germany. As the goaltender Lindmark goes to the bench on the delayed call. Eldebrink shoots, Friesen save, rebound. He stopped Eriksson while flat on the ice. And now as Rudger gets possession, another penalty against West Germany. And just a couple of unbelievable saves again by Carl Friesen.
I'll tell you what a save. I went to the puck. And Carl Friesen's 5'11", 157 pounds, and we're going to have to change those stats because he's 4 foot high and 6 foot wide.
That combination right there is Friesen again. Just, you know, I've seen some great performances. Tretiak through his years with the Soviets. Kissling's going off here. Jack McCartan in 1960 for the U.S. Olympic team. Jim Craig in 1980 for the U.S. Olympic team. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite. I saw some great performances back in '64 from Seth Martin for Canada. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this, though. As I say, we don't know how this is going to end, but this has been just a one-man show, and Germany continues to protect a 2-1 lead here. And Lindmark had nothing to do, nearly messed it up down in his own end, and one of the rare occasions, the only occasion where Germany's been down in their end.
On the second penalty that they called on Kissling, Lindmark wasn't even skating to the bench. he was yelling at his players to give it to the West Germans so they'd have the two-man advantage longer. He was a little ticked off about that.
Well, they're going to have a two-man advantage for 34 seconds, but West Germany able to clear it out of there. By the way, Kissling's penalty is for cross-checking. Sweden trailing 2-1 with a two-man advantage now. Here's Bергkvist. Bергkvist, number 18 to Rundqvist, number 9. Now to Carlson at the point. Other point to Эльдебринк. Side of the net. Back to Эльдебринk. Side of the net to Sёdергren. His shot blocked by Price. Here's Sёdергren to Rundqvist. One man back on. Here's Эльдебринk. His shot blocked. Rundqvist is back on and has the puck and carries out of there for West Germany. They're just one man short now. And he got upended, and the fans thought a penalty should have been called there, and none was. Sёdергren coming back. Centered it. Bергkvist shoots. And a pad save by Friesen. Sёdергren centers. Comes to Carlson. That hit Rundqvist and bounces to the corner. 55 seconds left in Kissling's penalty. Eldebrink shot off a stick. And up high into the crowd with now 50 seconds left in the penalty. To Kissling, 1:35 left in the second period.
This is the most emotional I've seen a crowd here at the Saddle Dome throughout this tournament. And I include Canada's games. I include the controversies when Canada would be involved in something. This crowd is really in this game. And it's all because of him.
Carl Friesen, 29-year-old veteran from Winnipeg. And meanwhile, Trunchka was upended on the play. I thought a penalty should have been called, Brad, but none was.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, the referee, everybody, I couldn't even see the reaction from the referee because everybody, the fans stood up and were yelling at him. This is incredible.
Still 42 seconds left in Kissling's penalty. Here's Mikael Anderson leaving it there for Peter Anderson. And he stick handles his way to center ice, waiting on a power play. Mikael Anderson moving in. Anderson in behind the net, flying to center. Does center off a skate. Held in by Peter Anderson. Behind the net to Eklund. On the boards for Anderson. We're in the final minute of the period. Peter Anderson shot blocked and then cleared away by Fischer. 7 seconds left in the penalty. 50 seconds left in the period. Here comes Carlson trying to carry in to Eklund. Penalized player is back on. And West Germany has weathered the storm. And they get a standing ovation here.
I never thought I'd see the day when I'd be sitting in a Canadian rink watching a game between Germany and Sweden in which a Canadian crowd would be so involved and Germany would be getting a standing ovation.
Shots on goal in this period. Sweden 17. West Germany 3. In the game, 30-10 for Sweden. But West Germany leads 2-1. Here's Johansson winning a face-off, but coming up with the loose puck is Niederberger. Trying to clear it out, and now picked up by Trunchka. 2-on-1 break. Trunchka shoots. Save there by Lindmark on one of the few scoring chances in this period West Germany's had, and it was by one of their top scorers, Gerd Trunchka. Now Oling moving in for Sweden. Center. Sprawling save by Friesen to stop Berglund. And then it trickled wide. More magic from Carl Friesen. Now a break for Штайгер. And his shot blocked by Kielstrom at the defense. Trunchka in the corner with 5 seconds left. To Штайгер. Puck comes to center. Oling racing after it, but that's the buzzer to end the period. Quite a period it was. West Germany, as Oling tries to get into it now with Kissling at the sound of the buzzer. West Germany still leading this game, if you can believe it, 2-1. With Ron Roosh and Brad Park, I'm Dan Kelly. Here we go with the third period. West Germany leading Sweden 2-1. And this is a game that Canada's paying very close attention to because Canada, to win a bronze medal, needs West Germany to win this hockey game. And West Germany right now with that lead.
You know, there's another little factor that comes into this one. It's an old adage in the game that you get so many scoring chances in a game, and if you don't utilize them somewhere along the line, they just go away on you finally.
Samuelsson shot, rebound try there by Sweden. Friesen slid across, able to freeze the puck. Sweden come right on the attack in the early minutes. By the way, in the second period, Sweden outshot West Germany 18-4.
Another chance. This one was well controlled by Friesen, who kept it on the short side. That rebound to Eldebrink there.
The other thing, Ron, I was going to say was that if you got 8 scoring chances in the second period and 7 in the first, there's no guarantee you're going to get that many in the third.
Here's a wide open man. Bергkvist shoots, scores! Bергkvist fakes Friesen out of possession, ties this game up at 2-2.
Well, they thought that one would never come, and how in the world did Bергkvist get behind the defense? He just floated back. The defense went out to cover the point. Nothing Friesen could do there. I mean, he was just so cold in that one that eventually he had to make a move.
Well, what happened? Well, off the face-off, Bергkvist was over by the boards, and it's just an easy goal for him. He was over by the boards. He took off behind the centerman. The 2 defensemen picked up people, and the 1 defenseman picked up the guy in front. The other defenseman went and picked up the centerman along with the centerman from West Germany, and Bергkvist ended up in front of it all alone, and a very heads-up pass in.
Now Franz trying to center it for West Germany, over to get it to Eklund, and picked up in center ice by Anderson, number 12. He flipped it through, and it slid into the corner off Friesen's goal stick. On the far side, Obresa couldn't get it out. Held in, shot deflected, stopped at the defense, and Price for West Germany backhands it out of there. And as number 12, Mikael Anderson, goes back to touch it, we get an icing call against West Germany. This game tied 2-2. Canada needs West Germany to win.
We're all that's new.
The assist at the 29-second mark. Here's Uling for Sweden. Feeding it ahead to Eriksson. And then coming out is Friesen to grab it as Eriksson and Rudger got all tied up with each other. And we'll get a face-off in West Germany's end of the rink.
Everything's in West Germany's end of the rink as you look there at Thomas Eriksson, former NHLer, 3 seasons with the Philadelphia Flyers. This team is a team that has had trouble beating anybody. They've had 3 ties in the tournament. Look at Canada, who really, when you look at their overall performance, have been better than Sweden. But as Dave King said last night, he said, it's all in your timing in tournament play, and that 1 loss against Finland has just killed them.
Now it is Uling shooting it back to the net. Medikas back to pick it up for Germany. Medikas again. On right wing for Rudger, number 22. Roy Rudger's pass knocked down by Johansson. Eriksson feeding it into center ice. Uling trying to move it ahead for Sweden, and he did. Schuster drops it back to Medikas. He feeds Brittig, number 10. Miss Trunchka with his pass. And back is Kielström, leaving it for Håkan Sjödergren, number 22. Sjödergren for Sweden, shot right at the goaltender Friesen, and he just took it against the chest and held it.
There's Sjödergren, second Olympics now. He's one of the most physical players. Actually, he's had a good tournament, too. One of the most physical players in Sweden, despite the fact he's only 5'9". He's kind of a blocky 187 pounds.
Here's Rundqvist on a face-off with Gerd Trunchka, deep in West Germany's end of the rink. And Trunchka comes up with it. Round to Niederberger. He missed it. Sjödergren held it in. Bergquist in to get it. To Sjödergren. Dropping it back, but intercepted, and away comes Штайгер, number 24. Штайgер for Germany. All tied up by Eldebrink, and back the other way comes Samuelsson. He lost it, and here's Trunchka for West Germany. Shoots one. Lindmark, who has not had very much work, made a glove save. That's only the 11th shot of the game for West Germany. Here's Bergquist back for Sweden. Dropping it to Rundqvist, shoots, stick save, Friesen, and he's able to go to his knees and smother it.
Well, he deals with his 36th shot on goal. 36 to 11, the shots on goal. Makes it 5-0 in this period. It just carries right on, and it continues to be Carl Friesen. The tie, by the way, will not do any good. This one he just popped on and jumped on right away, but the tie will not do Canada any good here. If you're a Canadian fan, you got to be cheering for Germany to score another one.
Here's Ron Fischer from the faceoff. Over to Franz. He tries to get away from Eklund. Pinching in was Swedish defenseman Karlsson. Puck back of the net. Cleared out, and here comes Obresa for West Germany. Obresa's pass intercepted by Karlsson. And now back of the goal goes Karlsson. Over to number 12, who is Mikael Andersson. Now to Yam, number 14. Yam trying to stick handle through. They drop it back. Shot. Friesen a save. Bounced high in the air after the shot was let go by Peter Anderson. Friesen made the original save on that man, Peter Anderson, number 19.
Well, that was a great shot, too. And Friesen, the only thing that I think helped him here is he saw it all the way. Watch number 19. It comes back to him. He's coming in, moving with it. And Friesen reacting quickly. Got the glove out.
16:22 remaining in the third period. There's Peter Anderson, former Washington Capital and briefly a Quebec Nordique. Now Medikas for West Germany. Poking it ahead. Rudger is after it. Rudger trying to move in. Skated out of the play by holding back of the net. And Sweden with Kielstrom try and clear it. Comes back to Eriksson, number 27. Eriksson for Sweden. Up the middle for Johansson. He's checked, and Brigg shoots it back in for West Germany. Kielstrom back together. He's checked. Now Rudger behind the goal trying to center. But Eriksson skated him off and cleared it over the glass out of play. West Germany with some pressure for a change here in this game offensively. Held in. Centered to Trunchka, number 17. Tried to flip it in front, but Rundqvist knocks it down. And back he comes for Sweden. Rundqvist, number 9. Shot at the center. Kissling intercepts that. Back comes Germany. Penalty coming up to Sweden. Yam will get a hooking penalty. And West Germany will have a power play coming up when we return.
Wound up with a penalty. Germans will take it one way or the other.
Dennis LaRue is the referee, and I think he got the wrong guy. Yam was the man that we spotted, but he put Sёdергren in the box. Here comes Kreis trying to stick handle in for West Germany. Got upended by Molin. Fans thought another penalty should have been called, but none was. And here's Ron Fischer, number 7, giving it to Franz, number 28. West Germany on a power play. But right now, having difficulty getting across center ice. Here's Kreis flipping it in. Digging into the corner is Schiller after it. Actually, it's Franz in there. Back to Fischer. Shooting. Lindmark save. Rebound. Shot wide by Franz. Cleared away by Sweden. Fischer at center ice.
Well, Fischer now playing on the point. He's been playing forward, but he's a defenseman by trade in the German league. We've got him on the point now in the power play.
But a chance for Yam, who should be in the penalty box, but is out there and now drops it back into his own zone to Johansson. And it's shot away by Kielstrom. 44 seconds left in the penalty. Niederberger to Trunchka. At center ice, that's intercepted. Back comes Kielstrom for Sweden. Backhander and a pad save by Friesen. Now Hegen, who has both goals for West Germany, moving in. Dieter Hegen centered it out. Comes to Kissling at the point. Into Trunchka. Back to Kissling. Shoots. Lindmark a save. Trunchka the rebound. Another shot high off the glass. Into the corner is Hegen. Tied up by Eriksson, and carrying out for Sweden is Johansson. 5 seconds left in the Swedish penalty. Johansson leaves it for Berglund. Blocker save by Friesen. And now Hegen stick handles up. Sweden back at full strength. Here's Dieter Hegen. Trying to move it in front to Trunchka, who was taken out of the play. Штайгер back of the net to Trunchka. Now to Hegen. To Trunchka again. But taken away by Samuelsson for Sweden. Now Niederberger held it in. Drops it to Kisslинг at the point. Shooting. Lindmark a save. And he held onto it on a hard shot by Udo Kisslинg.
You know, Sweden has played so hard to get their 2 goals. You also wonder about the fatigue factor in a game like this. Germany, meanwhile, has been hanging on, so you also have to look at that side of things. With Udo Kisslинg there, very much a factor in a pretty good offensive thrust by the Germans.
Kisslинg, 32 years of age, playing in his 4th Olympics.
Says he wants to make it 5.
And he's the captain of this West German squad. 2-2, West Germany and Sweden. Shot by Medikas from the point. Rebound, Brittig comes up with it. Number 10. But cleared out by Samuelsson. And then we get a stoppage in play on a 2-line offside.
You know, the 2 teams on the ice must be having a terrible time trying to figure out what Dennis LaRue, the referee, is going to call and what he's going to let go. It has been a very uneven kind of a refereeing job out there. You don't like to get on referees, but this is the type of refereeing that drives a player nuts.
Well, you're very unsure. You know you're going to take a good penalty, but you don't know if he's going to call a bad penalty on you.
Now Medikas let a shot go high off the glass, and then Brittig ran into the Swedish goal and knocked it loose, and we get a stoppage because of that.
A pretty good collision of the side of the net there, and Brittig sandwiched between the post and the... Remember the old days, Dan, when they used to have that little wee pin that used to go at the bottom of the post? International hockey was the first, of course, to have the removable net, but it came off so easily that all you had to do was tap it a little bit and it'd lift out of the ice. This is a much better system with the magnets.
Manfred Wolf losing the face-off to Rundqvist, and here's Bergqvist, who tied the game up. Now Eldebrink able to shoot at the center. Brittig has it there. Back into his own zone to Medikas. The head on right wing for Rutger. Eldebrink took him out. Fans thought he should have had a penalty, but none was called. Medikas pitching in to hold it in. And did. Rutger fires it over onto the other wing. Eriksson for Sweden gets to it first and cleared it. And back is Schuster. He gets checked, and now Medikas has to go back. Over on right wing for Rutger. Roy Rutger loses to Rundqvist. Into the side of the net. Chance for Sweden. Yom getting it in front. But cleared away by West Germany. And here's Hegen. Pass just missed Rutger. Down the ice it goes. Eriksson back after it. That's icing against West Germany. A tie will not help Canada's medal chances. West Germany must win for Canada to get a bronze medal.
Well, Thomas Eriksson at one time was part of the all-rookie team in the NHL back in 1984, but ran into some problems with his coach in Philadelphia when Mike Keenan took over. He says the style Mike Keenan wanted and the style Thomas Eriksson wanted were 2 different things, so Thomas Eriksson went back home. Remember all the trouble they had getting him there in the first place. He wasn't really that enthusiastic about coming to the NHL.
False alarm on the face-off. They'll do it over again between Gerd Trunchka and Mikael Anderson.
That Hjalm, I think, is going to be a pretty good hockey player. Another Flyers draft choice.
He's only 24 years of age. He's been dangerous all through this game. Back of the goal, Niederberger for West Germany. Up the middle for Штайгер. Ahead now for Hegen. Couldn't get the shot up, centered it, but cleared away by the Swedish defenseman Karlsson. Trunchka trying to center, did. Comes in front, shot by Штайгер, and Lindmark went to his knees to make a save on that. And now puck knocked ahead with a hand pass, and we get a stoppage in play.
Helmut Штайгер there. You know, looking at this game, there seems to be an interesting shift in things here. Suddenly, Germany starting to put the pressure. What we saw all of the second period and most of the first.
Well, one thing for sure, you always say, your destiny is in your own hands. The Swedes were down. They spent 2 periods catching up, more than 2 periods to catch up in this game. Now the West Germans, who backed off for 2 periods, all of a sudden they said, we're going to get aggressive and attack.
Here comes Oling for Sweden, trying to get around Harold Price. He's checked. And Obresa tries to clear it out and does. Picked up there by Fischer. Ahead to Frantz on left wing. Frantz near the blue line. Over to the other point. Moving in is Kreis. Couldn't get the shot up. Centered it. Lindmark cleared it away. And away comes Berglund. 2-on-1 break. Only Fischer back. Berglund. They hit the goal post. The shot by Johansson hit the post. On a 2-on-1 break for Sweden. Back comes Kielström. Trying to carry in. Kielström centered. Came in front. Brittig deflected it. Now Eriksson at the point. Over to Kielström. His shot wide of the net. Fischer takes a man out. Now Johansson cleared it behind the goal, and Price for West Germany gives it to Brittig, number 10. Brittig trying to stick handle in. Backhander wide of the target. Over is Schiller to try and get it, but Eriksson feeds it into center ice to Bергkvist. Knocked away there by Schuster. Now Rundqvist fell down. And here breaking away is Wolf. Dropping it to Rudger. Shoots! Lindmark just got a stick on that. Rudger with West Germany's best chance of this period. And then it's cleared out by Sweden. Here's Bedikas to Schuster. Ahead on right wing to Rudger. Poked back out by Eldebrink. West Germany with just over 9 minutes left. Game tied 2-2. Here's Rudger moving in. His shot blocked by Eldebrink. Eldebrink and Rudger fight for it. And now Sjödergren breaks out of there. Passing it ahead to Rundqvist. Back is Kissling. Held in. Centered. Shot. And a stick save by Friesen on Sjödergren's try from the left side. Now Yam centered. Rundqvist. Couldn't get a stick on it. And West Germany able to clear the zone to center ice. Here's Eldebrink. Trying to shoot it in for Yam. Niederberger there to clear it back up. Here comes Steiger moving in for West Germany. Eldebrink blocked that shot. Rundqvist gets the puck. Back to Anders Eldebrink. Eldebrink, long pass down left wing, comes in. Kissling hustling back. Yam tied him up. Niederberger comes back to help out. Now in comes Eklund for Sweden. Back on the point. And that shot wide of the target by Peter Anderson. West Germany cleared, and here's Trunchka. Number 17. This is their best offensive line. Steiger, Hegen, and Trunchka. Pass to Trunchka for West Germany. He leaves it for Niederberger. Moving it in on the wing for Steiger. He's taken out of the play. Now Steiger in front. Shot Lindmark. Save on the short side there. And Eklund comes up with it. 7.5 minutes left. West Germany 2, Sweden 2. In comes Carlson, ridden out by Niederberger. And Kreis plays it off the board. Steiger shooting it down into Sweden's end of the ring. Game tied at 2-2. Tie won't help Canada. They need West Germany to win. Now a lead pass ahead on left wing. Frantz trying to center. Gets it to Schiller. Now centered out in front, but cleared away, and Eriksson takes over for Sweden. Thomas Eriksson shot it to center. Knocked down by Fischer, who's now back playing defense. He had been a forward for most of this tournament, even though he is a defenseman in the German league. But here in the third period, they have him back playing defense. Now Johansson trying to center. Side of the net, they center. Berglund scores! Bo Berglund, set up by Uling. And Sweden takes the lead at 3-2 on the goal by Bo Berglund, the 32-year-old veteran.
Well, you can see this one coming as Berglund parked himself just off the post, and he was all alone there. Nothing at all Friesen could do. Defenseman late getting back, and Berglund able to put it in.
Well, a turnover in the West German end. As Fisher went around and wrapped it around the boards, there was nobody over there. It was kept in and worked back towards the net. And a great pass through the goal mouth. And Berglund was just right there jamming it home.
And if you think you've heard of Bo Berglund before, you have. He's 32 years of age. Formerly played with Quebec, Minnesota, briefly with Philadelphia. His fourth goal of these Olympics. Oling and Johansson the assists. 13:27 the time. And now Sweden leading 3-2, their first lead in this game. And West Germany with Manfred Wolf moving out of his own zone. Fired into Sweden's end of the rink. Jam up on the boards, 2 West Germans and 1 Swedish player. Now in comes Samuelsson. Brittig got it loose, but Эльдебринк tries to clear it out. And Sweden do shoot it down the ice. Schuster, number 5, back to get it. And that's icing against Sweden. Sweden has the lead, 3-2. Canada needs West Germany to win in this game. West Germany to win this game. If Sweden wins or ties, Canada will not finish in the middle or in the top 3. And there's a chance by Штайгер moving into the left side.
And he was trying to pick a spot there next to the post. A pretty good shot he let go. And Lindmark, who can be very good in his own right, he hasn't had a lot of work in this game. But here that was not an easy shot to deal with. Lindmark looked like he may have been back on his heels a bit.
He was. You know, the interesting thing is you figure the Swedes are such a strong team. They should be controlling this game from one end to the other. When they were behind, they controlled it. But now that they're ahead, they don't seem to want to control it. They're going to sit back a little bit. That could be a mistake.
Well, the fact is that in this period, it has not been as lopsided. Germany's had its chances here. What they need now is a bounce.
Their big offensive line is out there now with Trunchka, Hegen, and Штайгер. And back to get it is number 19, Niederberger, who's on defense with Kisslинг. Niederberger going to pass it to, just shot at the center ice. Carlson fires it back in for Sweden. In to get it on the boards is Yom. Shot it around behind the net, and Niederberger beating it to Dieter Hegen. He's had both of the West German goals, has Hegen. Now Yom intercepting, dropping, and here's Lars Molin. Shooting it in. Niederberger back to get it. Now Eklund behind the net. Number 4 for Sweden. Trunchka knocked him down. Trunchka trying to come up with the puck. Did, but ran into the referee, plus a Swedish forechecker, Molin, and we got a stoppage in play. Well, I guess it's about that time of the day that we start going with the ifs, ands, and the buts.
Well, the fact is, and we've said it before, if Germany loses this game, Canada is out of the medal round. If there's a tie here, we could wind up in a 3-way tie for second place, which would be the identical situation as the 1964 Olympics in Innsbruck, when Canada was pushed out of a medal by goals for and against. That system still exists. That was the third method of tie-breaking that particular year. If Sweden wins, they will move into silver medal position. And everything will then hinge on the Finland-Soviet game. And if Finland and Soviets, if the Finns win it, they'll get the silver. If the Soviets win it, then Sweden will get the silver and the Finns will get the bronze. There'll be a penalty called here.
A penalty coming up, and we'll be right back with 4.5 minutes remaining.
Bauer knows that skating performance comes down to this.
A holding penalty against Eklund. Sweden leading 3-2. I was about to say Canada needs some help here, and let's hope West Germany can help them with a power play opportunity right now with 4:32 to play. The big offensive line of Trunchka, Hegen, and Штайгер out there, although Штайgер has dropped back as a point man, and they work it over to him. Here's Helmut Штайgер, number 24. Fires it in. Эльдебринк back to get it. Shooting it up, Niederberger fires that into the corner. Held in by West Germany, but back is Эльдебринk. Niederberger at the point. but he couldn't hold it in, and Rundqvist beats Эльдебринк. 2-on-2 break for Sweden. Эльдebrink couldn't get the shot off. Now just cleared it in. Here's Hegen at center ice for Штайгер. Штайgер to Hegen. Hegen gets checked in the play by Rundqvist, and the veteran Kisslинг has to go back. Ahead for Niederberger. Now to Trunchka. Ahead to Hegen. Hegen dumps it in. Comes to Kisslинг at the point. Couldn't hold it in the zone. Sweden cleared out, and Niederberger has to hustle back. He dropped it back to the goaltender, Friesen. Now to Trunchka. Now to Niederberger. Back to Trunchka. West Germany with 50 seconds left in Sweden's penalty. Trunchka for Штайгер. Back to Kisslинг. Into Штайgер. Back of the net. Carrying out in front, Trunchka. And the shot by Kisslинg deflects and goes over the glass. 3:03 left in the game, 31 seconds left in Eklund's penalty for Sweden.
I mentioned the shots on goal and the whole offense changing a bit. The shots on goal still favor Sweden in this period, but only 9-6. So there's been more offense from Germany. Now they got to find a way to beat Lindmark.
Face-off is going to be about 15 feet inside the Swedish blue line. 31 seconds left in the penalty to Eklund. Won by West Germany. Fischer at the point to Kreis. Lindmark to the Steves to stop that. Now dropping back to Kreis again. Shooting. Deflected. Loose in front. And covering up on it was the penalty killer in front of the net, I believe, Rundqvist. As now they unpile. A good chance there by West Germany, however.
That's what a low shot will do for you, Brad.
It does. It creates a lot of confusion. And the Swedes are very lucky that Rundqvist, it ended up under them because they had sent two guys out to the point. The shot got back into the net where there was 3 West Germans and only 2 of the Swedes. And they're very, very fortunate on that one.
Face-off. Coming up to the left of Lindmark. Ron Fischer at the point. To Kreis. Moves in, shoots, just shot it wide. Low wrist shot. Fischer now moving in. Now we got a stoppage in play, and they've got a penalty coming up, I believe, against Schiller, and he throws his glove in disgust. We'll be right back.
She was 6 when this was taken.
The only photo of a missing child.
That's all that we have.
Referee's only got 2 eyes.
Schiller gets the call. It's holding. Each team a man short. But when Eklund returns in 3 seconds, Sweden will have a power play. We're down to 2:30 left in the game. And now the penalized player Eklund is back on. Sweden leading 3-2, and with the man advantage, here's Jom, number 14, into Molin. Molin center. Backhand try. That's grabbed by Friesen as Anderson let the backhander go. We're down to 2:16 to play. Things not looking good for West Germany, and as a result, for Canada as well.
Well, for Canada, West Germany must score 2 goals. But for Germany, a tie here would be like a victory for Carl Friesen, if nobody else. Mikaël Anderson. This is his first major tournament was the World Championship, so his first World Tournament he won a gold medal. Could come out of here with a silver. That's not bad for 2 tournaments.
Eldebrink into the corner. Sweden with Bo Berglund. Back to Eldebrink again. Now to Berglund. Return to Eldebrink. Shooting. Friesen got a stick on that. We're in the final 2 minutes of this game. Sweden leading 3-2 and on a power play. Bo Berglund to Eldebrink. Back to Berglund. Eriksson at the other point. Shoots. That hit a stick and went wide. Berglund has it again. Into the corner for Johansson. To Berglund. Sweden just taking their merry old time. They have enough goals to win this one. They're leading 3-2. And if it ends up this way, Canada is eliminated from finishing in the top 3. Here's Berglund into the corner now for Johansson. Back on the point to Эльдебринк, return to Johansson. Now Эльдебринk again, moves in. Shooting, that deflects wide. Trunchka comes up with it. Trunchka trying to move it out of there. Johansson ties him up. And we're down under a minute left here. With number 2, Эльдебринk controlling for Sweden. To Eriksson, back to Эльdebrинk. And Sweden about to move into second place in this tournament as they clear down the ice and will be called for icing just as the penalty expires against Schiller. Now only 40 seconds left for America.
All right, here is the point situation. Soviets have 8. Sweden with a victory here, if they get the victory, will have 6, and Finland and Canada will have 5 each. And now, are we going to call Friesen over to the bench?
I don't want to say that the crowd here is trying to call the shots, but I'm watching the West German bench, and there's about 4 guys behind the bench. They're calling Friesen out of the goal, and they're giving the referee the timeout sign.
Well, we've got 18,000 coaches in this building today. 18,000 referees. Let's listen down there. We can't understand a word, of course. All right. Well, as I said, Sweden will move into second place in the tournament with 6 points, 2 behind the Soviets, who have already wrapped up the goal. Now, Finland and the Soviets will play this afternoon. Finland and Canada are tied at 5 points each. However, Canada lost to Finland. That's the reason why Canada won't have a shot at the bronze. Well, it's 7 minutes. We keep talking about those 7 minutes against Finland.
40 seconds left in this one. 3-2 Sweden. 6 attackers for Germany now as they take off their goaltender Friesen. Now a tie will help West Germany. It won't help Canada. Canada needs West Germany to win to qualify for bronze medal finish. Let's see how Trunchka can do with Rundqvist on this face-off. 6 attackers for West Germany. Now some jabbing with sticks off to the side, and we're going to get some penalties here.
Our friend Udo was in the middle of that, wasn't he?
Oh, it was Ron Fisher
27 blue,
and Thomas Eriksson.
Send them both off. 27, you heard the referee there. 27 going for Sweden is, of course, Thomas Eriksson. And Ron Fisher. 2-minute minors.
It gets a little testy in that pit in front of the net, especially, you know, late in the game like this, and with the score the way it is. Everybody's got an assignment. The first thing that the West Germans have to do is win the draw. The second thing is not let any of the Swedes get out to the point man. They've got to hold them up for a split second so the point man's got time to shoot it. It's kind of almost like a screenplay where you hold the guy, you let him go, and then you go to the net if there's a rebound.
They're going to try and get it to Штайгер at the point, but so far haven't. Now Hegen has the puck, does get it back to Штайгer. Shoots, and that was blocked by Bергkvist and bounces to center ice. Штайгер over to Niederberger, who shoots it in. Cleared away by Lindmark. Bергkvist in the corner, gets it to Эльдебринk. On the other side, fired down the ice at the open net by Carlson. It misses, and that's icing. And 14 seconds remain, and West Germany will get another face-off in Sweden's end of the rink. This time they move Hegen back as the trigger man. With the face-off in the other circle. 14 seconds left. Trunchka against Rundqvist. Trunchka gets it. Hegen cuts in front, goes to his backhand, works in deeper. Now couldn't get it center. And it's Rundqvist clearing it out of there with 4 seconds left. And that's going to do it. Sweden comes from behind to defeat West Germany 3-2 and upset Canada's plans of a bronze medal victory.
Well, Hegen is really giving the referee heck over on the other side. He really upset because he was dumped to the side of the net as he was cutting around. But as you see, Sweden outplayed Germany, and but for Carl Friesen, it would have been a walkaway by 7, 8, 9, count them, 10, 11. The final shots on goal were over 40, 42 to 18. That tells you the kind of game that Carl Friesen had. And there's Peter Lindmark, who was in the Swedish goal. And
against Sweden, Germany, had they beaten Sweden, would have allowed